Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to sunny Florida. We are on board the Ramble and are following up on our recent trip down from New York to Florida. In the comments on the last video, a number of people asked for a tour of the Boston Whaler Conquest 345 that we made the trip on, and so I thought we'd do that today. Unfortunately, it's a little bit windy today and a little bit of rain, but we'll make the best of it and start with the interior and see if we can get some of this weather to pass. Down below, we get a lot of functionality out of this space. Starting here in the galley, we have the first of two refrigerators with a freezing compartment, and that's very convenient to have the refrigerator both in the cabin as well as one out in the cockpit. We'll show you that in a little bit. Some storage down below, as well as a sink with hot and cold water, and a microwave that is not convection, but we don't do a lot of cooking on the microwave because we have many other options. Some shelf storage up above, as well as some storage for some dry goods. While this closet here is meant to be used for clothing because it does have a hanging rod up in the top, we use it mostly for coffee makers and some cooking essentials, placemats and things like that, just because it's not very practical to use as a hanging locker. Now, one of the big selling features of the 345 is the dynamic bed system, and here it's controlled by two switches that allow for the bed to open and close down below. You see that seam there, and then to pop up a table that is hidden underneath. The mattress spreads open, and I'll see if I can find a clip of that online so you can see that functionality. That said, we never use the table down here. We have it set up permanently as a bed, which is almost a queen size, bigger than a full, but not as big as a queen. And that also gives us a little bit of extra storage down below. So for instance, down here we have lots of trolling lures for tuna, spreader bars and things like that. And the other side I use for some clothing. Up above is a overhead skylight, and we can block that out so that it stays dark at night. We've got some nice accent lighting both alongside the bed and on the shelf above, and portholes both on the port side we have two, and on the starboard side we have two as well. The 345 comes in two optional configurations. One is the rod storage component, which this model was equipped with. Others forego the rod storage and have additional storage along this wall. In addition, we get great flexibility from this sofa that lays flat, and I'll show you that in a second, allowing for basically a twin size bed. And one of our crew was 6'1", and he had no problem sleeping on this bed. We put a sleeping bag on it and some pillows, and we're good to go there. This is the sofa in the sleeping configuration, and you see plenty of room to lay out on and to sleep. Underneath the sofa we got a bunch of storage, which we use every inch of. First aid kit, some wet weather gear, and some Ziplocs and knives for cleaning fish and stowing away the fillets. Over to the right and up above the sofa is a 22-inch TV. In our case, we have connected an Alexa, Amazon USB plug. This allows us to connect to Wi-Fi either through the Starlink, which we have on board, and I'll show that in a little bit, or to Marina Wi-Fi, or even using your phone as a hotspot in a pinch. So that's quite nice. Over to the right, we have controls for the AC, heat, and dehumidification. We're currently in dehumidification mode because it's been raining for a long time. Below that are the overhead lights to the cabin. The first switch is a simple on-off, and then we can also dim those lights as well, brighter or lower, so that we can set whatever mood we want in the cabin. The second one is for the blue accent lights, and they too are dimmable as well. We also have a Fusion stereo control. This is one of 3 controls on the boat. The main stereo for the boat is located down below here, and we can switch between audio or surround sound in the cabin for watching movies on the TV. Above the sofa and below the TV is our 120 volt and 12 volt panel with breakers and switches. Our remote generator starter here, and we get feedback via these red lights as to its status, and then the breakers to switch between shore power and the generator, and then here as well as our key start for our engines. Put them in the on position, and then we can go up above and push start each of the engines. Although a switch exists for a gyro, this boat is not equipped with one, and so obviously we leave that in the off position. Controls also for the cockpit AC when we're using it, as well as for the grill and the stove in the galley. The 345 is equipped with an aft cabin. Theoretically could be used for sleeping. It's another twin size layout. Obviously we are using it for rod storage, lure storage, some clothing and things like that. There's also a cubby up here, and the importance for that cubby is that our power supply for the Starlink is located there. You see also a mini Wi-Fi receptacle. We plug that in right here when we want to use the Starlink to power up our internet connectivity when we are offshore. Also in the back, might be hard to see, is the intake for the lower AC unit located down here for the cabin, and there's a separate one up in the helm for conditioning the helm. The head on the Conquest 345 is a wet head. It has hot and cold water shower that we have here, a handheld that attaches up above for an overhead. We have a nice designer bowl sink, and then a vacuum flush toilet. We pull that curtain over, and it keeps all of the items behind the curtain dry during the shower. Another porthole here, and I'd say one of the first complaints that I have about this boat is that the light up above is controlled by a switch next to the dynamic bed and seating area, and in order to turn on the light in the bathroom you need to hit that switch outside the door, and that means if you want to use the bathroom at night, you'll wake people up with a bright light by turning on the bathroom light with the door open. Not a big deal, but something that I wish we could change. I mentioned that the whaler is equipped with both cold and hot water, and that hot water is provided by a 5-gallon hot water heater located in the starboard side gunnel, and it certainly gives enough hot water for a shower of about 7 or 10 minutes. So let's continue our tour on the Ramble on our Boston Whaler 345 with a look at some of the features of the helm. The helm of our 345 is equipped with 2 Raymarine Axiom XL 16-inch screens. We've got them in chart mode and fish finder mode right now. To the left is our Mercury Vessel View monitor. It's a SIMRAD device, but it gives us lots of information about fuel and water capacity, and we can change between different settings to monitor things like RPMs, our speed, all connected via the NEMA network that the chart plotters are connected to. Now on the right are all of our toggle switches, and this boat is equipped with joystick controls, dual throttles, and a anti-theft device down here at the bottom that when we pull that, just keeps the motors from being able to start. We've got a pair of Lenco trim tabs over here on the right hand side. This boat is equipped with active trim as well, so we can put it in one of 5 settings to allow for adjustments to the bow angle to gain the optimum speed. Sorry about the plane that's taking off from the local airport. And then push button start for the engines down here on the left. So we turn the keys on down below, energize the system, and then push button the engines to start. Up here on the right, spotlight controls, and the second of our 3 Fusion audio controls. It's a comfortable Helm seat, and fold-up armrests, as well as a bolster that can go up, so that it acts more like a leaning post. And you'll also notice that our VHF, with the head unit up here, is also controlled by this wireless handheld. And this is quite nice because I can walk around the boat and not be tethered to the Raymarine. It's on a charging dock, which is nice. But as a backup, I also have purchased a wired handheld so that I can plug it into this port should, for whatever reason, the handheld lose its battery charge. Behind the helm, we have the second of 2 AC units. You might have noticed up here, I'll just show the automatic controls for the Helm AC controls. And so when we put the enclosure up completely and zip ourselves up, we can generate heat or AC here. In a second, I'll show you that we can convert this also to a bed. And this was used by one of our crew during our trip down to Stewart. But behind here we have a sink with hot and cold water and a spray nozzle, so we can pull that out and rinse off anything that we can reach around here. Some light storage. And then down below here we have a freezer compartment, and this is just a freezer, not a refrigerator, and that's nice for frozen food or for bait that we want to take offshore. And then down below here we have some storage. And an addition that I put on last year was this 3rd Raymarine screen that I could see from the cockpit, especially for wanting to watch the fish finder activity. To the left is the 3rd of the 3 Fusion stereo controls. A nice thing about this particular seat is that it moves forward, and I can put the backrest in this position, and if you can imagine this without the curtains, it gives fishermen an opportunity, especially while we're trolling, to watch the lines from a backward facing position, or because we have seating here and here, it just creates a nice effect for everyone to be able to gather around the cockpit. Before I step out into the windier cockpit, I'll also show you that we have a 4-rod rocket launcher and battle saddle station here. Just stepped outside to show you that the rear facing seat has a footrest down here that we can pull out, making it a little bit more comfortable. Also to cover off the battle saddle, you can see that it's got a gimbal down below that you can sit on. It's a modified fighting chair, if you will, with 4 rocket holders and 2 cup holders. The aft seating is a fold-up type, of course, as is the one on the port side. That's in the folded-up position, so it's out, and when they're both folded up, we've got combing pads that surround the cockpit, as well as stainless steel tow bars down below to make fighting a fish that much easier. Before we move outside to the cockpit and the windier conditions on the bow, I did want to show you that the Whaler is equipped with the augmented reality forward-facing camera. So here you can see the camera, and it's picking up all of the AIS data from each of the boats located in the marina. It also picks up buoys and gives you distances as well, and it's a nice feature. While it's not a infrared camera, it is a very good low light camera, and with a minimal amount of light, like a quarter moon or more, objects show up nicely. The cockpit is also equipped with this nice electric grill, this Kenyan electric grill, and this is our most popular cooking surface, mostly because you can grill up meats, vegetables. You can even use it for a bit of a frying pan situation if you put a pan on that electric grill, and it creates lots of versatility. And also, because it's out here as opposed to cooking down below in the cabin, we don't have all the cooking odors lingering after we're done cooking. Another great feature. Fish box over here, which has got plenty of room for tuna, wahoo, striped bass, things like that. A little deeper than the opening. And these are drained with macerator pumps, which are quite nice. Here I've opened up the cockpit main storage area. Right now I'm standing on top of the fuel tank, which is a 400-gallon tank. And also here you see a 7.5 kW Westerbeek generator, which is enough to power every accessory on the boat operating at the same time, and that's quite nice as well. Over here to the starboard side, we have another fish box, just like the one here on the port side. You'll notice that we have two 30-amp plugs. I'll show you that here, and we use a splitter off of a 50-amp pedestal. And down below is the freshwater intake for the boat, so when we're on a dock, we can hook up to the marina's fresh water. I also put a splitter on it, mostly for two reasons. One is that we can hose down the boat with the one that's currently empty on the left-hand side. This is the water coming from the dock and going into the boat. We can regulate it with these shut-off valves, and also I can attach it to the engine flushing system, which is located over here with a short piece of hose, and then I can push the button over here, and if I hit it once, the engines will flush for 15 minutes each, and if I hit it twice, they'll flush for 7.5 minutes each. Down below is our raw water washdown. That is handy when we're tuna fishing and we're making a mess in the back of the boat. We also have speakers all over the boat, both down below, top left and right, and under the gunnels back here. Our fuel fill is to port. We've got 2 rod holders on each side of the gunnels, as well as 3 more across the back of the transom, and then 3 running up each side of the hardtop. Our Whaler is also equipped with a sunshade, which I'm deploying now. It's controlled easily by a switch on the helm. It is said to be by Whaler able to withstand winds of up to 30 miles an hour. Today's about 20-25. But I have run with the shade open while cruising, and it's a great feature on a hot day or when it's raining to keep you safe from the elements. Up on the hardtop, there's a few features I wanted to point out. One is that we have these taco outriggers. These are aluminum outriggers, and that works just fine. I've had carbon fiber as well, and there are pros and cons to both. And we've also installed a center outrigger as well. Moving forward, we have our 6-person life raft. In our case, particularly important when you're running besides being in the water. Whether or not this is the unsinkable legend. Forward to that is our Starlink, a new addition last year, and an invaluable level of connectivity. Pros and cons, of course. The pros being that we can stay in touch, the con being that we're staying in touch, and it wasn't that long ago that we would run offshore. Maybe we'd use a Garmin inReach and just send texts every once in a while, but now we can take Wi-Fi calls, we can stream videos, all those great things that I've heard about with using Starlink. Here's our 4-inch Raymarine radar spotlight, and then the camera that I mentioned. Showed you on the video screen. The windshield is a 3-panel windshield with the center panel opening from the bottom out to allow for ventilation, and that's quite nice. The hardtop also has 2 skylights, or hatches that can be opened for ventilation. And I'll be honest to say that while I enjoy the natural light, it's not something I've ever thought of opening, just because I can ventilate with the windshield and these side curtains right here. The running lights are also integrated into the hardtop. Moving forward, you'll notice here on the bow some snaps. Those are where we place the Sunbrella canvas. Sunbrella cushion system, so that you can use this as a lounger, and that's quite popular. But we took it off for our trip down south. Nice high bow rails. I believe that they're 22 inches, and a nice wide walk around with a draining deck just forward of that cleat over here. So any of the water that gets here gets gutted off mostly out to the side. 345 features a remote windlass, and while these 2 devices look like rod holders, they're actually meant to hold up poles for a shade system that goes over the bow. But having said that, we don't use that shade system, and so instead I'll put 2 spinning rods up here when we're tuna fishing, so that if we see tuna breaking the surface, we have them ready to go. Like I said, our windlass quite nice, and the stainless steel anchor is also nice. A big benefit of the 345 is not only do we have our anchor locker here, but we have freshwater wash down, and I put a hose in here long enough to reach being able to wash down the entire front half of the boat, so that we're not pulling hoses off the dock to do that. That's where the quick connect in the cockpit comes in handy with that second hose attachment. We have 300 feet of anchor chain in this locker, which is more than enough. Moving back towards the cockpit, I'll step off the boat and onto the dock. Notice that our hull color is Apico blue, like you probably saw in previous videos. Around to the stern, you see our 400 with stainless steel props. I'll give you the specs for those, like comments below. You'll notice there where the tuna door is, and a step-up ladder. I've got this rope that is tied off a transducer that's laying in that little bilge. And that's because that was one of the casualties of our trip, is that the screws that hold that transducer, that transit mounted transducer in place, all broke off. I'm not sure why, and I don't think it's because of the reason, the second thing I'm going to point out to you, but needless to say, that's going to be a yard repair in the next couple of weeks. There's also a boarding ladder, a swim ladder there underneath that rope. You can see the back up to the left of the lighted transom. The lights on the transom are just to tell anybody that's in the water that the engine system is energized and ready to go. The second casualty I was going to tell you about is if you look at each of the skegs on the 3 outboards, you see they've been polished a bit. That's where we touched bottom in South Carolina in one of the backwater stretches of the ICW. Again, I don't think that's what caused the the transducer issue, but it could have been the case. Those are the only real casualties of the trip. Pop up the cleats on the stern, and yeah, that's about it. Transom. So that concludes our tour of the 345. If you have any questions about the boat or about our trip, put them in the comments below, and please hit like and subscribe. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.